Hello and welcome to part 3 of Pokemon CreppyPasta. Now it's really dark outside and you expect it to be creepy for me, so if I read this and you hear me not talking anymore, I will still upload it when I wake up. But let's start on Pokemon. Strangled Red. My favorite. Okay. There are tons of stories out there about hacked Pokemon games. Some of them really quite neat, such as this one, about a version where you can get a ghost as a starter. Some are ridiculous, silly stories about individual dying after playing a game, or the game talking. I don't know. Wait, don't these writers know less is more when it comes to these stories? Well, I digress. I'm really interested in these hack games that are apparently at a thrift store on eBay or handed out by homeless people to random passersby. I don't have the pleasure of meeting these creepy people. I really found this particular cartridge in a trash bin. The garbage truck back into my neighbor's dumpster. I noticed the game and asked the trash man if I could take it, and he didn't seem to mind. It was thrown away after all, and I of course checked with my neighbor to confirm if they actually didn't want it. Though they seemed perplexed, as if they'd never seen it in their life, their son made a grab for it. A little boy saw Charizard over the cover, crying out, "Pokemon, I want Mommy!" But his mother told him no, seeing as I found it, he didn't even have a Game Boy anyway, he just liked Pokemon. Thinking nothing more, I simply went home, looking at the cartridge sticker on the way. Just a plain old red version. The sticker slightly torn across the Charizard's neck, but that was expected of such an old game. I had blue as a kid, so I was a bit eager to see the, albeit minimal difference, red version had. I was rather disappointed by when I saw the title screen show up. Pokemon Strangled Red version. Well, damn it. It was a hack. Hacks were neat and all, but they had zero monetary value. The original was quite valuable by now, and I wanted red anyway, not this crap. Oh well, that's free, might as well try it. The name was odd, however. Strangled Red. That made no sense. Not even a morbid description of someone being asked. I'm not gonna even try. As people turn blue and choking, not red. Who knows? Maybe there was a pair of these hacks and I just got the red one. The more I thought about this, though, the more interested I became. My initial disappointment turned into curiosity. I wanted to know what the creator had made. I was going to know everything I saw. The first oddity I noticed was the start screen had a Charizard next to the trainer instead of a Charmander. Also, the Pokemon never cycled through like the original version did. It just said Charizard. After 5 minutes of waiting, struggling my head start, noticing there was no Charizard cry as I did it, like there was supposed to be. I saw there was a continue option, so I figured I'd do what everyone did, use games to see what the previous owner had done. No? I blinked in surprise. No. What do you mean by no? The game wouldn't let me continue no matter what. Though on the 4th attempt, I heard Charizard cry. Quiet, but barely audible. But there. Shrugging it off, I decided to just sit in new game, like I would have done after checking the old file anyway. The screen cut to black for a while. No Professor Oak, no star anything, no nothing at all. Eventually the screen came back, showing a bedroom, 2 beds, 2 TVs, and a computer in the corner. My transfer was the usual one, consistent with the original red version. I was curious as to why it didn't ask my name, though I was answered as I opened the pause menu, noticing my trainer's name disappeared. No, this is my real name or some stupid crap like that. This game is self-aware or haunted, at least, not that I know of, or it just had a name chosen already. Next I saw he had the starter amount of money, no badges. He didn't look red though. His hair was longer. He didn't look like red. His hair was longer, almost reaching halfway down his back. Red usual smile versus place with a confident smirk. Usually, honestly, I found Sprite much cooler than red. Next I checked out his Pokemon. A single Charmander, low flag named Mickey. Nothing was odd about it, or should I say her, with the name and all. She had beginning Charmander stats, only scratch and tail weight, basic stuff. The game seemed relatively normal. Returning to the game, I walked about the room, noticing Steven's long hair was present on the back of my trainer Sprite. When my back was turned to the camera, I didn't recognize the house, but I sensed the stairs to see more. Downstairs was another trainer, who spoke to me the instant I came down. Mike? Red Hat? Steven? Yeah. I assumed this Mike was my rival, pretty decided for me. I replaced him for Blue most likely, though I thought back to having two beds. Realizing they weren't just rivals, they were brothers. They talked back and forth. Basic Pokemon dialogue, become a Pokemon master, catch 'em all, stuff like that. Before having a little argument over which is better, Charmander or Squirtle, which of course led to the introduction battle, like the one versus Blue in the lab. Simply enough, scratch, tackle, till I won purely for having the first turn. I took note of how much better Steven's Sprite looked in combat than Red's. A different pose, his hair looking like it was blowing the wind. A brief, minor upgrade, but it was still much cooler. I left the house after some more banter with my brother, stepping up to the Palatine feet. Going to the east, I found this was indeed Palatine. The house was simply on the outskirts to the west. I noticed there were no mysterious grassy fields like in Pokemon, like in normal Palatine. Wondering about, I decided to check on Red's home. His mother was inside, and when I talked to her, she commented on how handsome Steven looked, hoping her son looked up to him as a role model for when he became a trainer himself next year. Which of course led me to realize this game took place a year before the original Pokemon. I dreamed upstairs playing the SNES in his room, SNES I mean, in his room, commenting, I'm gonna be the best too. When it's my turn, I was starting to like this book. I was interested. A completely new adventure, a different character. Hell, Steven even seemed to have history with people in his town. A reputation. Personality beyond silent protagonist. The people in the town talked to him as a person, making conversation, not just spouting tutorial crap. Even Blue's sister had new dialogue. They seemed to be in a relationship too, as the dialogue ended with a kiss and a heart over her head. Professor Oak simply wished me well, giving me the Pokedex to aid my adventure. He wasn't giving it to me to be the reason behind the adventure like every other Pokemon game out there. He gave it to me out of kindness, something to help me on my way. A gift. I was liking this more and more with each second. The game seemed to have an actual story now. I was somebody, not just a cookie-cutter protagonist anybody could be. Not some blank sheet that could be replaced without notice. The story was different. Though the actual gameplay remained unchanged, I went north like I was supposed to. Went from town. Sorry about that. My mom just scared me because she noticed I was reading a creepy story and she just came to the door looking at me with that creepy smile. Now, that's the story. The story was different, though the actual gameplay remained unchanged. I went north like I was supposed to, went from town to town, collected badges, received the praise of the leaders. Steven's fame of the spread seemed to spread as some NPCs would talk like they knew him. I used Mickey for every battle. She was growing surprisingly fast. She handled Brock with ease, even pounded Misty with no trouble at all. She wasn't as advertised to be affected by the super effective attack as others, did more damage than a regular charger. She was a veritable powerhouse. She even became Charizard at the mere level of 25. Not bad, I must say. Things started to get weird, though, as soon as I reached Lavender Town. I know, Lavender Town is a focus with me. Every single creepy story is and the like. But it was the only place that was noticeably different. There was no Team Rocket invasion, which I found odd, though I did remember that this was a year in the past, so the invasion wouldn't occur until Red Sun. I tried to enter the Pokémon Tower, aiming to get a basket, but that's when it got odd. Steven, I have no reason to be here. Steven wouldn't go to the Pokémon Tower no matter what I did. This was weird. I mean, there are a million places in Kanto you have no need to be, like little random houses with nothing but children NPCs, for example. Why was it here that Steven wouldn't enter? With a shrug, I figured I wouldn't need a guess, seeing Miki could handle anything, so I simply went on my way. The Lavender Town serving no purpose other than a passageway with the Poké Center. The game progressed normally from there. The remaining gyms fell, and eventually I made it on my way to the Elite Four and defeated them. As with Blue, my brother, Mike, was there before me, initiating the championship battle, which Mickey swept with ease. The aftermath of the battle was quite pleasant. None of the tension that was present between Red and Blue at the end of the match. The brothers congratulated each other on the progress and shook hands. Before the screen went away, no Hall of Fame, nor any presents. The screen came back. It was the house again, the two brothers sitting at their computer, conversating with each other. Steven, I don't want to. Mike, come on, I just gotta borrow her for a second to finish the Pokédex. The option won't register until she recognized me as a master for a second. But she's mine, Miki. I promise I'll give her back. Come on, please. Yes or no. I was a bit perplexed, so I didn't know to be cautious. Come on, please. No. Come on, please. No. Come on, and continued on. I realized it would be simply continue to loop on until I hit yes. So I did, just to see what happens. Alright, this will take just a sec, then we'll both be Pokemon Masters. The screen changed to an animation show when two people trade Pokemon, which I found a bit weird, seeing as I was solo, but whatever. This was apparently supposed to happen. Mickey went first. I watched lazily as she began to travel down the trading tube. Snap! That made me jump. A sudden noise resonating in my silent bedroom, loud to the volume being way up. Looking at the screen, I noticed the game had seemed to freeze. Mickey still in mid-trade, but the game wasn't doing anything. With a sigh, I just turned off the game, wondering when my last save was. When the game turned back on, I stared at the start screen. There was no charge on it, trainer. Upon pressing start, I saw the new game option was absent. Maybe only continue. This was strange to say at least, so I selected it. The game started without even showing my status as usual. My jaw dropped as I was reading to it. 1 year later, the Lavender Town theme came first, playing its normal way. The screen slowly fading in from blackness. Steven was in the Pokemon Tower, which made the music even stranger, seeing the tower had its own theme. He was standing in front of a tombstone, not doing anything. I pressed A. Confused, I tried walking, realizing I was indeed in control at the moment. I brought up the pause menu and checked my party. Mickey was gone, not just Mickey, all Pokemon. He had nothing. The Pokédex was absent from his menu. His bag was empty. Honestly, concerned now, I checked his trainer card. He had no money, he had no badge. His playtime was 8,795 hours, which was impossible as I had only 30 logged in before. But that wasn't the strangest part. The picture of a handsome, confident trainer was different. His eyes were black, his face turned slightly down. The smirk of his was gone, replaced by the lack of any expression at all. The long hair of his, before in a perfect perm, was now messy and unkempt. I couldn't look at him anymore, closing the menu. I went to move out of the Pokémon tower, but with every step I took away from the tombstone, the screen flickered like it did when the Pokémon was poisoned. Gulping, I brought up the trainer card again. His picture was getting worse. Every step I took, he hung his head more and more. His shoulders slumped and he bent over. By the time I had exited the tower, he was on his knees, hands to his face, hair draped across him. I had guessed already what was going on, but this clinched it. I began to put some things together in my mind. I had always wondered why there was no champion in the original games beside your rival. Why is you, the protagonist, had to beat your rival when he just waltzed in, no previous champion challenge? Then it struck me. The answer was right there. The answer was right here. The previous champion gave up. His precious Miki was apparently dead, and with her, so died part of him. His Pokedex, another Pokemon, his badges, his fame, all of it, he threw it away. And that year I missed. That year where all those hours came from. I even did the math. There were 8,765 hours in a year. Add that to my 80 from before and it matched up. Even so, the game kept going. This should have been the ending, I thought. I mean, what else was there to do? I had no Pokedex, no Pokemon, no nothing. What was I supposed to be doing? I talked to everyone in the town, but they all said similar things. Are you okay? It's still morning, I see. Everything will be alright. Please, is there anything we can do? Stephen never replied to them, and they simply said the same things over and over. I could have put the game down now. This is all strange. Curiously, I headed off to the tall grass and eventually got in a battle with a wild Rattata. No Pokemon is sent out, just Stephen's sprite, wondering how I battle. Wild Rattata left you be. The battle ended without anything happening. This was certainly interesting. It happened with every Pokemon I encountered. Wild Pidgeot ignored you. Wild pointed out, wandered off. The music never changed either, no matter where I went. Loud in the town came from the speakers, following me. Sometimes slow down just slightly, sometimes not. I searched everywhere, talking to everybody, wondering just what the hell I needed to do. My frustration was in mixing with the depressing atmosphere of all this, making the experience altogether unnerving and uncomfortable. But I couldn't turn myself away. I was starting to get a bit angry though. Nobody telling me anything besides giving their condolence and trying to give me items like lemonade or coffee, each met with no. I slapped myself with idiocy, suddenly realized how the likely answer was standing right in front of me. Peloton! Of course! When I went there though, which took a long time, having no Pokemon to fight, no bicycle to ride, it only seemed to have half the regular room I seen. It wasn't much different. First I tried to talk to Professor Oak. These things happen. You were just unlucky. Next I tried Blue Sister. Please! No. Just making it. Please, don't leave home again. This mom wouldn't even talk to me. With nowhere else in mind to go, I walked to the west. Finding the house from the beginning, which I had never entered since leaving Palatine. Inside was Mike, but talking to him was just as useless. I'm so sorry. I pondered for a moment if this was really the ending. Stephen doomed to do nothing but roam Canto in misery, haunted by the memories, forced to listen to everyone's concern about him. As a last-ditch effort to do anything, I went to the bedroom and wandered over to bed. I'm going to sleep. The screen faded to black for a moment, and then slowly in, the world having a black tint to it. The mic's bright, laying in the other bed. I am sure this meant it was night. I'm going to do it. Do what? Again, I had no idea. Tried to inspecting everything in the room. Again, I had no idea. Tried inspecting everything in the room. Nothing happened. As soon as I left the house, another dialogue. It can bring her back. It can do anything. What the hell is it? Something that could do anything. I couldn't, for the life of me, figure it out. Wandering about, I tried to leave Pallet Town the usual way. Not that way. How would he go any further? I tried at home. Sort of them. I quirked my eyebrow at that, forgetting for a moment that this was not a real Pokémon game. The vulgarity just took me off guard. I continued to look around, but there was nowhere I could go until I accidentally stepped in the ocean. And Stephen walked right in. Only the upper half of his sprite visible, like the swimmers he encountered in the Cerulean Gym. I didn't know how he can swim. The missing one. Missing one. I paused for a moment. No, it couldn't possibly mean that I hadn't tried a missing goat trick on his hat yet. But it just fit too well. That had to be what meant I surfed all the way to Singapore. I began to feel something was off. More so than it already was. Silence. Lavender down theme had stopped. There was no noise at all, nor were there any Pokemon. I just kept on going, finding Cinnabar surfing up down the East Coast. Lo and behold, wild missing goat appeared. Mine. Wild missing goat Sky. What the hell? Stephen didn't do anything. He just commanded that atrocity of broken data to join him. No, become his possession. And it did. It was getting more and more disturbing by all this. Checking the star menu, I saw missing goat was not in my party. But I set an item, making things even stranger. I checked the trainer card as well. Stephen has his back to me. His long hair draped behind him, his hands in his pockets. Nothing else. Remembering what he said at the start of the night, I realized what I had to do. I surfed the land and made my way northeast to where else, Lavender Town. Along the way, I noticed all the traders oddly still at the town. Wouldn't look at Stephen, all concerning when he passed. Even those who were normally static. I tried talking to one of the officers in the guardhouse type buildings. Just go. They all said the same thing, though one said chills on my side. Sometimes dead is worst. My hands were sweating by this point. Stephen was about to try the impossible, something someone would see as a crime against nature, which many of these people shared as an opinion. I steeled myself. It's just a game. I was going to complete it. It took an eternity to reach the Pokemon Tower, but I got there eventually. Taking a deep breath, I headed toward the tombstone. I remember which one. The image of Stephen standing before it was burned into my mind after all. First I tried to inspect it. Mickey. Nothing happened. I took open the menu and selecting the missing goat from the bag. Stephen, don't use it. I was reminded of when Professor Oak would magically tell you can use a key item somewhere. Like when using a bicycle in a building. Though the message this time was different, even worse, even responded to it. In a world that cheated me, why should I play fair? Stephen used it. Dot, 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 dot. Stephen obtained M at hashtag $! What in God's name did I obtain? I couldn't tell you because the game took away my control. Without my input, Stephen began to leave his tower on his own, walking single step by single step. The Lavender Town's theme started again, and as he left the tower, he began his excruciating slow journey against my will. Every time he crossed one of the borders where the music would change, got progressively slower, more and more disturbing. By the time he reached Cerulean City, it was a demonic rumbling. I just started watching him, trying to guess where he was going, but it was getting more and more obvious. He was heading to Palatine. The music had all stopped by when he got there, playing single note by single note. He went exactly where I guessed, right to his own house, inside and up the stairs. At this point, there was no music. Stephen moved step by step, stopping at his brother's bed, turning to face him. At first, I thought the game froze. She didn't do anything, simply stood there and I couldn't move. However, found out I could open the pause menu. I was terrified to look, but I couldn't stop myself. I selected a stranger card. There was a low growling noise, like a distorted Pokémon cry. Stephen was looking at me, directly at the screen. He was hunched over, his vein obscuring his face, his hair wild and feathered out. Between his bangs, there wasn't even a face at all, just black, two red eyes, looking straight forward, white grin contracting with the darkness. That wasn't all. His name was now S! 3N. I couldn't look away. My eyes glued to his, not breaking contact for some time. My vision got blurry until I couldn't see very well. My face grew wet. I was crying like a little baby. There was nothing I could do to hold back the tears. I was a boy from the start. I built up the greatness and was forced to watch his decline after a tragic accident. Now, he was this, the thing's abomination. I watched him go insane. Halting my tears, wiping my eyes. I closed out of the trainer card and tried to save the game, wanting to just quit. The game informed me that it was now impossible. Nothing can be saved now. The pause menu wouldn't close no matter what I did. So, with no other option, I checked the bed. Nothing happened. And so I checked the Pokemon. And there was one. A single sprite memory. It had 0 HP, its status DED. Its name M @ hashtag $. I selected it. I was waiting for 4 options. Status, it's hurt. Switch, never. Close, no. Strangled. My fingers shaking. I selected Strangled, and the menu closed, showing Stephen in the room again. Stephen. Goodbye. Snap! And the game shut itself off. I was more dumbfounded and frightened. In a bit of shock, I turned it back on. The title screen showing the maniac, Stephen, and a horrible witch Charizard. I pressed start and continue. All I saw was a zoomed out view of Palatine, showing Stephen's home to the west, tall grass surrounding it, and those unmovable stones blocking it from the rest of the town. The image was completely static, no movement before fading away. Going back to the title screen, and it was as if it had been when I first popped up. A trainer and a Charizard. I attempted to hit continue. No. Thank you for watching the final part of Pokemon CreppyPasta Friday the 13th special. I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys the next time I do something like this. Hint, hint, it might just be Halloween.